Have you ever made a plan for a completely different life while sitting inside the exact routine that created your current one? You bought the notebook. You deleted the apps. You promised yourself that this time you would wake up early, save money, finish the course, get in shape, and finally become the person you kept imagining. For a few days, the plan felt powerful. Then one late night became 3. One missed workout became a week. The course remained open in a browser tab you stopped noticing. And before long, you were telling yourself the sentence you had said many times before: I just need to start again. But how many times can you start again before the real problem is no longer the plan? Hi, I'm Sarah, and this is WiseMind Stories. The idea behind the 6-month plan begins with an uncomfortable truth. You do not change your life by making a more inspiring promise. You change it by building from a more accurate picture. Because a plan built on a false picture of your life becomes another way to avoid your life. In this episode, we will explore why intelligent, ambitious people keep returning to the same place, why shame makes that pattern harder to see, and how to conduct the kind of honest life audit that gives the next 180 days a real chance to become different. To understand why that matters, let's begin with Leah. At 8:42 on a Monday morning, Leah Morgan was standing in an office restroom, staring at an email she had already read 6 times. The subject line said, Project Assignment Update. The company's biggest client account had been given to someone else. For 8 months, Leah had told everyone she wanted that assignment. She had asked her manager what she needed to prove. She had volunteered for extra work. She had even written "Lead the Harrison account" at the top of the 6-month plan taped beside her bed. Now the project belonged to a colleague named Ben. Leah scrolled down until she reached the sentence that hurt most. We need someone whose recent execution has been more consistent. Consistent. Not more creative. Not more experienced. Not more intelligent. More consistent. Leah wanted to blame her manager and Ben, who had less experience with the client. Then she remembered the report submitted 2 days late, the meeting she entered unprepared after scrolling until 2, and the messages she avoided because opening them made her anxious. Each moment had felt temporary. Someone else had been adding them together. That evening, Leah went home and found her 6-month plan exactly where she had left it. It was beautiful. 6 color-coded categories, 30-day milestones, a 5:30 morning routine, a savings target, a training program, a professional certificate, and a side business she intended to launch before summer. The paper described a disciplined, focused, financially responsible woman. Her apartment described someone else. Laundry covered the exercise bike. 2 delivery bags sat beside the trash. A late payment notice was hidden under unopened mail. On her laptop, the professional course she had purchased 4 months earlier was still 12% complete. Leah did what she always did when reality became uncomfortable. She opened a new document and designed a better plan, simpler, with rest days, beginning on the 1st of next month. For 20 minutes, she felt hopeful again. Then her older sister, Nina, called. Leah told her about the project. She expected sympathy, maybe outrage. Nina listened quietly and then asked, Do you want me to make you feel better, or do you want me to help you understand what happened? Leah almost chose the first answer. Instead, she said, Help me understand. Nina asked her to send 3 things: a screenshot of her phone's weekly screen time report, her bank transactions from the last 30 days, and a photo of her calendar. Leah laughed. What does that have to do with work? Maybe nothing, Nina said. Send them anyway. The screen time report showed 5 hours and 17 minutes a day. Leah began explaining. Some was music, some was work. Nina asked, How much of it helped you become the person on the plan beside your bed? Her bank statement showed 11 delivery orders, unused subscriptions, and no transfer to savings. Her calendar was full of meetings and other people's requests. Her course, workouts, and planning block disappeared after the first 2 weeks of January. I had a difficult month, Leah said. Nina replied, "You've called the last 6 months a difficult month." That sentence landed harder than the email. How many times have you called a repeated pattern a temporary setback? How many weeks must look the same before they stop being unusual and become your system? Leah's problem was not that she had no goals. She had too many goals, written in the language of a fantasy version of herself. Her plan assumed she woke with energy, controlled her evenings, handled stress well, and could add 6 new commitments without removing anything from her life. None of those assumptions were true. The plan did not begin where Leah was. It began where she wished she already were. And that is why many plans feel exciting on day one. They allow us to experience the identity of a changed person before we have paid the cost of changing. Writing, "I will train 5 days a week," can briefly feel like discipline. Buying a course can feel like progress. Creating a budget can feel like control, even while life remains untouched. A goal can make you feel brave without requiring you to become honest. The 6-month idea is often sold as a dramatic promise. Disappear, work harder, and return unrecognizable. But 6 months is not magic. It cannot guarantee a healed relationship, a new career, financial freedom, or a transformed body. Some problems require longer outside help or changes that discipline alone cannot create. 6 months is useful because it is long enough for repeated actions to produce evidence, and short enough to force a decision about what your ordinary Tuesday will look like now. Nina asked Leah to stop writing plans for 1 week. Instead, she gave her a blank page divided into 4 sections. At the top, she wrote 4 words: time, money, energy, evidence. For 7 days, Nina said, do not improve anything, just tell the truth. Leah hated the assignment. She wanted action. Action felt hopeful. Observation felt passive. But for the first time, she began looking at her life as it was, not as she explained it. Under time, she recorded where her hours actually went. She discovered that the deeper problem happened between 9:30 and midnight. After work, she looked for relief. That relief delayed sleep, which made the next day harder and the need for relief even stronger. What looked like laziness was a loop. That distinction mattered. If Leah called herself lazy, the solution was to become a better person. If she saw a loop, the solution was to interrupt a sequence. Shame says, something is wrong with me. An audit asks, what keeps happening before the result I dislike? Under money, Leah stopped judging individual purchases and looked for the story they told together. She noticed that delivery orders followed her most stressful workdays. Shopping followed moments when she felt behind other people. Subscriptions represented identities she wanted to have: the reader, the athlete, the creator, the investor. She was not only spending money on convenience, she was spending money to feel temporarily closer to lives she was not practicing. If someone saw only your bank statement, what would they conclude you value? Would that answer match the person you describe yourself as? Under energy, Leah rated each day from 1 to 10. Tuesday and Wednesday were manageable. By Friday, poor sleep and unresolved tasks had accumulated, yet her plans treated every day as equal. This did not excuse broken promises. It made them designable. You cannot build a reliable system around energy you do not have, And then Leah reached the fourth section, evidence. This was the hardest one. Nina told her to write down every promise she had made to herself during the previous 6 months and place it in one of 3 columns. Kept, partly kept, abandoned. Leah stared at the page for a long time. The certificate and emergency fund. Abandoned. Running 3 times a week. Partly kept. Calling her mother every Sunday. Kept. At first, the page looked like proof that she was a failure. Then Nina pointed to the promise Leah had kept. Why this one? Leah thought about it. She called her mother at the same time each Sunday. Her mother expected the call. Leah usually walked to a coffee shop while they talked. The cue was stable. The emotional reward was immediate, and missing it affected someone she loved. The promise had a place, a time, and a relationship. Most of her abandoned promises had none of those things. Study more had no hour. Spend less had no rule. Get healthy had no first action small enough for an exhausted Thursday. Leah had been measuring her character with promises that had never been designed to survive reality. You are not starting from your intentions. You are starting from your evidence. That sentence may sound harsh, but it is actually an act of mercy. Evidence does not say you can never change. It tells you what must be accounted for if change is going to last. The point of an audit is not to prosecute your past self. It is to stop asking your future self to rescue a system you refuse to examine. At the end of the week, Leah wanted to rebuild her entire plan. Nina stopped her again. Choose one repair, she said. Not one dream. Not one 6-month outcome. That would come later. One repair to the system that was damaging everything else. Leah chose her evenings. At 9:30, her phone would charge in the kitchen. She would write tomorrow's first task on a card. At 10, she would begin getting ready for bed. If she ignored the routine, she would not declare the week ruined. She would reset the next night. It sounded too small. That was exactly why it had a chance. During the first week, Leah followed the routine 4 nights out of 7. The old Leah would have focused on the 3 failures and designed a stricter schedule. This time, she studied the evidence. 2 failures happened after late meetings. 1 happened after an argument with a friend. So she created a reduced version for difficult nights. Phone in the kitchen, wash her face, write 1 sentence for tomorrow, sleep. No perfect evening. No motivational performance. Just a floor beneath which she would try not to fall. By the end of the month, Leah had not transformed her body, doubled her income, or launched a business. But she was sleeping earlier most nights. Her mornings felt less chaotic. She submitted 2 reports before their deadlines. She completed 3 course lessons, not 12, not the whole program, just 3. More importantly, something quiet was returning. Self-trust. Repeatedly making dramatic promises and abandoning them teaches you that your own words do not predict your behavior. Soon, even a good plan feels fake while you write it. That is why starting over can become addictive. A clean page offers temporary relief from the last attempt. But history does not disappear with the old notebook. A useful beginning includes what every messy attempt taught you. So before you create your own 6-month plan, conduct the audit Leah avoided. First, look at your time. Review the last 14 ordinary days. Where did the unclaimed hours go? And what repeatedly pulled you away from what mattered? Second, look at your money without beginning with guilt. What do you buy when you are tired, lonely, anxious, or trying to impress someone? How much of your spending supports the future you say matters? Third, look at your energy. When are you clear? When do you collapse? Which obligations create a debt that another part of your life must pay? A plan that ignores your body becomes a punishment delivered by your calendar. Fourth, look at your evidence. Which promises have you kept, and what made them easier? Which ones keep disappearing because they are vague, too large, badly timed, or attached to a life you do not truly want? Then ask the question most people avoid. If the next 6 months looked exactly like the last 6, what would it cost you? Not only in money, what opportunity would pass to someone more consistent? What relationship would receive the tired version of you again? What would happen to the way you see yourself? An honest answer is not meant to frighten you. It gives change a reason stronger than mood. Leah did not win the Harrison account back. Real change does not erase every cost of the old pattern. 3 months later, another project opened. Leah did not bring her manager a speech about how much she had changed. She brought early reports, completed follow-ups, and finished course modules. Fewer explanations, more evidence. The project was smaller than Harrison, but this time, she led it. Not because she had become a different human being overnight, because her ordinary days had started making a different argument. A plan built on a false picture of your life becomes another way to avoid your life. But a plan built on honest evidence can become something else. Not a fantasy about who you will be. A bridge from what keeps happening to what happens next. So do not begin your 6 months by asking, how much can I achieve? Begin by asking, what is already true? Look without dramatizing. Record without defending. Find the loop before you attack yourself for living inside it. You do not need a harsher promise. You need a more accurate starting point. But once you see your life clearly, another difficult problem appears. You may still want to repair your health, finances, career, relationships, confidence, and attention all at once, and that desire can destroy the plan before the first month ends. In the next episode, we will explore why trying to change everything often protects us from changing anything, how to choose the one outcome that makes other changes easier, and what you must be willing to leave out for the next 180 days. Because the future is not built only by what you pursue. It is also built by what you finally stop pretending you can carry. Until then, remember, you do not need another life. You may simply need another way to see this one.